Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler. I know we're in the middle of a heavily competitive NBA Finals. Looks like it's about 3 minutes, 11 seconds left. And check this out. Phoenix up by 3. They were down by 13 and at the end of the first quarter. So we may have a game 7 on our hands. Going to talk about the Mannings getting a Monday Night Football gig, sort of. The Manning brothers. Also, the Naomi Osaka, I think I'm probably butchering her name, the tennis star, her documentary, Sports Illustrated, a little bit of a feud she got in. Also, I've got a solution for the national anthem, to have one national anthem. And also, Damian Lillard, there were injuries, NFL injuries, major NFL injuries. The Oakland Athletics may be one step closer to being moved. I didn't put that in the title. But Cam Akers, new signings, Melvin Ingram, Geno Atkins cleared to play, Cincinnati Bengal. So, welcome to Sports Scope, everybody. I'm a little tick off because didn't quite get the proper time to prepare. Traffic was rough today, but that's okay. All right. So let's start off with the NBA Finals. Again, it's 39-36 going back to game 5. I think that Giannis and this team are simply more physical. They are beating this team to loose balls. They just simply wanted it more. Now, tonight, Phoenix has seemed to rebound. I mean, we're at a timeout. We're almost at halftime. You got to think about this issue with Chris Paul coming up. Maybe I overreacted to the fact that he may be about him getting the possible 4-year extension there. Maybe they shouldn't extend him at all. The guy is 36 years old, kind of coming down to reality. I think I may have everybody got caught up in the narrative, the whole faith thing with Monty Williams, with Chris Paul. I'm not sure. Maybe they want to relook that after the season and go back and check the tape and see this deal with him and Drew Holiday. He could very well be holding this team back. Now, you got to learn, like Michael Jordan said, you have to learn how to lose before you learn how to win. Thank you, Keith. And thinking about that, the reason why I'll break that up, you've got DeAndre Ayton. You have a Booker, very young players, okay? Early 20s. Going through this is going to teach them experience. Win or lose tonight, win or lose game 7 if there is a game 7. So that is what, if management decides to move on from Chris Paul and go after a younger free agent, those players, that's experience, guys, it's valuable. I mean, it's priceless, that kind of experience going deep into the playoffs like this. Now, maybe they can work out another year out of Paul. I don't know. I know his history with other teams. He has made teams better, but he also has worn some teams out because he's very intense guy. He is a coach on the court with the coach on the bench. I get that. But I was 110% sold to give him a 4-year deal because you're having both a coach on the bench and you're having an additional coach on the floor. So you got him and Monty Williams working tag team on these young players. But you're paying $40 million a year versus you would pay assistant just a few $1 million a year. So, no, experience is something. I think experience is you got to have some experience. Carlos, if you look at the teams, the last few teams that won, look at the experience they had. LeBron's experience, Look at the experience on the Toronto Raptors. Marc Gasol, remember, he was a mid-season trade. Of course, Kawhi Leonard won a championship, but Marc Gasol here out of Memphis, guys, or to Nashville or Tennessee, many deep playoff runs with the Memphis Grizzlies. So Ray Allen, thank you, Pickles. Paul Pierce had been there. He just never went far when they made that trade. So, of course, we go back to Ray Allen. We go back to the Heat. We go back to, well, he's not a player, though, Carlos. He's not a player. So you got to look at the experience. So I think that Phoenix, this will be invaluable experience for this team. Do you want to get another veteran to replace Paul that has his kind of attitude? You can't really find this level of leadership with a Chris Paul or even a Giannis. It's so rare to find. We talked about this on the Mac and Jack show on Sunday. By the way, yeah, Paul George. Remember Paul George did several battles with LeBron and the Miami Heat back in those days with Roy Hibbert as your other big in the middle, guys. So I do think it's invaluable. Of course, the league's going to be better. They caught a lot of breaks in the playoffs. I get all that. So you have to put all that into a – but remember, they made a strong push towards the end of last year in the bubble, come up just short. Maybe that's when the light bulb went off, and Paul just kind of put them over the top. So they have some tough offseason decisions to make August 1st. We're going to start free agency here pretty soon. And they're up by 3 points right now, the Phoenix Suns, after being down essentially 13 points at the end of the first quarter. Got 22 seconds left. Up by 7 now, 22.8. I mean, that is a heck of a comeback. If they can come back and win this thing, that would be an absolute miracle. Again, there is no loser here. This is a win-win situation. Both of these organizations, neither have won a championship since the 1976 ABA-NBA merger in August 5th of 1976. Giannis, like I said on Mac and Jack the other day, showed tremendous leadership, diving for loose balls, beating out guys to get the free throw. And, of course, you've got guys like Chris Paul on this other team here. Each team he goes to, he does help their winning percentage. He hasn't won a ring yet, but it's a win-win. I think it's really good for the league. And I'll say another thing that I told you guys. We are July the 20th, and the ratings have spiked up some. I know we've had some problems outside of basketball. But again, guys, we got to keep this in mind. There's nothing going on right now. We had the British Open, somebody that won I never heard of, but we have there's nothing going on, and that's another scenario. That is another situation. That is another stat that Adam Silver needs to look at. You want to have these finals in these late July days because there's simply nothing else on TV right now, and a lot of the great series aren't coming on. Now, Netflix figured it out, put Stranger Things on the 4th of July and set records. So that's my thoughts on the finals. There is no loser, and I was going to tell you guys something else, and I'm going to see if I can get this. Again, I'm fly by night on this sometimes. I am not totally prepared, but you guys know my crazy schedule, but I still want to do it. I simply still want to do this. Okay, there was a major injury today. I want to talk about it in the NFL. I've told you from the start, even before breaking down these games, that this LA Rams team, do not put them in the Super Bowl yet. I know they got Matt Stafford. Cam Akers tore his Achilles yesterday. It hit the news wires today. And it's simply 15:27. Now, this is Colin Cowherd on his show talking about what the changes that the Rams have quietly made through in the off season that are not for the good, and that's what I've been telling you about in the summer leading up to breaking down games and telling you about this team in the NFC West. Hold on.
Dell's semi-annual sale is the perfect Miami one running back, a defense. We think of him as quarterback.
Okay, listen.
He got moved to Miami.
Okay, this is on the – make sure I got this right. Okay, this is on the Cam Akers. Let me make sure. Hold on. Stand by. This is Colin Coward on Cam Akers. Hour 1. Yeah, okay.
So now they don't have the wiggle, the explosive back, nor do they have their power back. And remember, McVay's offense is really like Kyle Shanahan's offense. We think of him.
They lost Malcolm Brown in the offseason. Cam Akers tore his Achilles. This is Colin Coward talking about the losses that the Rams had, which I've been pointing out to you guys for months.
High flying and explosive and dynamic. They're based on a strong running game. So now the Rams suddenly have no depth at running back, no number one running back. They also lost their number 2 tight end, Gerald Everett, to Seattle.
He's to Seattle.
Their defensive coordinator is now the Chargers head coach. Their passing game coordinator is now the Seahawks offensive coordinator. They lost Michael Brockers to Detroit.
Yep.
They lost Malcolm Brown, didn't make news, to Miami.
Malcolm Brown, the other
and they
running
lost
back.
Their top safety, John Johnson, to Cleveland, and their third corner, Troy Hill, to Cleveland. So the headline, the big headlines, Matt Stafford and the Rams.
They lost Josh Reynolds to Tennessee at receiver, guys. So this idea that they're going to be all that, he didn't mention the fact that they've got a 39-year-old left tackle. Whitworth is great. He's almost my age. I'll be 40 Friday. All right. And then I saw Adam Scheffner was saying that they wanted to keep the guys. I mean, there's some running backs out there, and I'm looking for them now. He says the Rams don't have any immediate plans to pursue a free agent running back. They believe in Darrell Henderson, like last year's undrafted free agent Xavier Jones, and they also drafted Jake Funk. Don't fake the funk on a nasty dunk in the 7th round for now. But there's guys like Duke Johnson. He's out there. He is a explosive back. And I'm trying to see if I can find it out. Somebody put out that Duke Johnson's out there. Thompson is out there. A guy that used to play running back for Chris Thompson used to play running back for Washington football team. I know that Peterson's out there. He's 100 years old. He would be more of a goal line type of guy. But Duke Johnson's a fairly young guy, very explosive. Devontae Freeman is out there. Former Ram Todd Gurley. Now, I don't think they'll bring back Gurley because I was hearing that it really didn't end well on that. They got rid of him because he was turning into a locker room problem. See screenshots on Seattle. So my thing is that this is a 2-team race now. I do not, in the NFC West, I do not trust Cliff Kingsbury. I like the roster. I like the talent. J.J. Watt. I like the new center they got. Him with Cam Chandler Jones. But I do not like Cliff Kingsbury's I'll put that up there, Pickles. Thank you. Cliff Kingsbury's head coaching, okay? But Seattle, much better than I thought after looking at their roster. I've already told you I'm leaning heavily on the 49ers. I like their defense. Most talented team offensively and protection-wise that a very motivated Jimmy Garoppolo will have. But I cannot sleep on this Seattle team that has just a lot of upgrades on their offensive line with Gabe Jackson. They've also got Gerald Everett at tight end. They've got some additions at corner and at defensive tackle. Those are more question marks. My only issue with that team is their pass rush, is the Seattle Seahawks pass rush. So it's going to come down probably to the probably one game or two. I'm going to have to get it in game by game, situation by situation to find out which team is going to win. The winner may get to the Super Bowl. Something could happen to Brady down the stretch, and the winner of the NFC West could very well get to the Super Bowl. That is not an exaggeration. I also wanted to tell today that, and Pickles, from what I'm seeing now with that lack of running game, we saw what Cam Akers done those last 5 games for this Ram team. He looked fantastic down the stretch, especially in the Seattle playoff game. I've had Russell Wilson being my MVP favorite for the last 2 years. Kind of fell off a little bit there at the second half of the season last year when Chris Carlson got hurt and they didn't have a good running game. And, of course, Rodgers was fudging his stats. He blew up. He ended up taking it. But Russell Wilson, of course, Josh Allen, and my sleeper right here out of Nashville, laugh if you want to, he'll be talked about, Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill, those are my MVP sleepers. Now, if you are a fan of these teams, you do not want that player to get an MVP, because the last player which team won a Super Bowl when the player was MVP was Kurt Warner back in 1999. Now, we'll see how well I don't know if I'm going to put Stafford as my favorite. He was my favorite coming in. They're not even doing training camp till later on this week, early next week, and now they've got their key running back is out, and then they didn't want to sign anybody. But I tell you what, that could change. I mean, some of these other running backs may very well get picked up as we speak. So I just wanted to talk about that before I got to everything else. Damian Lillard, I said that I will come back to football, guys. Just make a note of that. Damian Lillard, I said he would probably request a trade way before anybody else said that. As soon as the series was over with, I said he'll probably request a trade. They are looking. It's been reports that he's going to request a trade here in the next few weeks. It's maybe just before the Olympics. Probably if it was me, I would wait till the Olympics are over and do that. So the Knicks are one of the teams that he is rumored to have liked. This is from Sportsnut. I don't know if I read this the other day or not. 3 realistic Damian Lillard to New York Knicks trade scenarios. This is from Sportsnut off the online here. Okay, the Knicks. Here's some potential Knicks with Damian Lillard. The Knicks will get Damian Lillard. The Blazers will get R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, Mitchell Robertson, Kevin Knox, 3 first-round picks. That sounds like a little much, but you remember, guys, we have to match up well with perfectly with the salaries, okay, for this to work. Again, one potential scenario, the Knicks will get Lillard. They would give up R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, Mitchell Robertson, Kevin Knox, and 3 first-round picks. That seems a little heavy, but you have a megastar who is in his prime. He will be playing with a Randall in his prime. That will make some noise. Not sure if that would work out. I'm sure, Carlos, you would hate that. Another potential trade. Knicks would get Damian Lillard and Nurkic. The Blazers would get R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, Mitchell Robertson, a boy Toppin, and 2 first-round picks. Let's see. Another one would be Knicks get Lillard. Blazers get R.J. Hamilton, Gary Harris, Mo Bamba, 5th-round pick from Orlando. New York, future first-round pick. Magic would get Kevin Knox, R.J. Barrett, and the 19th pick. That's a 3-way deal. That's very common in the NBA. Okay, Here's mine. This is my trade or deal. This is what I said way before anybody else did. That was the reason why I read that is because the Knicks, there was a report that the Knicks were one of his favorites to go to. My favorite would be Ben Simmons and Steph Curry. Okay? Ben Simmons and Steph Curry for Lillard and maybe a deep bench player or a draft pick, a first-round draft pick. You put Damian Lillard and Joel Embiid. That would give Brooklyn a run for the money. Brooklyn's going to be very strong next year. Looks like they're going to keep their core together. As of today, it looks like it's going to be, for next year anyways, for this coming up season, Kyrie Irving. We're going to have, of course, Durant and James Harden. They're going to give each other one more year. So if you put Lillard, Joel Embiid, with Doc Rivers, with those role players, who's that other guy, guys? Harris, help me out here. Well, there are other big three guys. And then on the flip side, you would have a shooter with Steph Curry playing in the same conference as brother, playing brother one on the opposite team in the same division there. Then you would get Ben Simmons helping out with defense. And, of course, C.J. McCollum can play true point guard there. I've told you he averages 23 points a game. He was being overshadowed by Lillard, I thought, a lot in spots. That would be good. They would give them some wing help there. And, of course, you would get a dog like Lillard right in his prime. The salaries would match up almost perfectly if you add Steph Curry's salary in there with Ben Simmons, $31 million, because Lillard makes close to $40 million a year. Yeah, Harris. Yeah, thank you, Pickles. Harris there with Harris, Joel Embiid, and Damian Lillard. Remember, guys, they got a really deep bench there. They should not have lost to Atlanta. So that would be my favorite. I want to thank OddsShark. Also, OddsShark, they said that the favorite, what did they say for Kawhi Leonard? I'm see if I can find. Well, they had Kawhi Leonard's here too, but I want to say that I also had the Damian Lillard. The Knicks are the favorite to land him according to OddsShark, plus 160 Pickles. The 76ers are plus 225. Third would be the Golden State Warriors. That would be awful for Blazer fans. You don't want Lillard smoking you in your own division like that, okay? And then, of course, it goes with the Lakers, Mavericks, Celtics, and so forth. But also, they put the same thing out for Kawhi Leonard. Leonard is favored to go back to the Clippers. Maybe with that run they did, maybe he'll go back. But the second favorite was also the New York Knicks. I don't know what's going on in New York right now. That Thibodeau is becoming this Mr. Popular with the players. But the Knicks are just under the Clippers for Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi can opt out August 1st, and I think he will. He'll use the player option so he can get a better contract there. So we'll see how that plays out. I still would love to see Kawhi go play with Luka Doncic in Dallas. And they would be third, according to OddsShark. So I like to read this stuff, this interesting stuff here. Good little basketball story. Bouncing back to the football. I can't stay away from football, everybody. Okay? Let me see. We're at 24 minutes. And other football news. Melvin Ingram, pass rusher. I wanted a team like a Tennessee to get him. I wouldn't mind seeing him go to a Seattle. Somebody like that needs help at pass rush. He went on and got one of a free agent. Remember, Bud Dupree is with the Titans now, coming back from injury. But Melvin Ingram, I want to say the 33-year-old pass rusher, signed with Pittsburgh. That is huge for Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, Pittsburgh still got those 4 new offensive linemen that they've got to break in there. Again, like I said the other day, they're on the outside looking in as far as they got the hardest schedule. They had one of the easiest last year. They got one of the hardest this year. I think that they are going to be Najee Harris. Man, I would wear him out. It would be 70-30 run pass, possibly 80-20 run pass. But Pittsburgh is going to be good on defense. They're going to win 8 or 9 games on defensive alone because of TJ Watt, a defensive player of the year candidate, everybody. And now you've got a Melvin Ingram who is a house of fire. He may be better in spots than a Dupree. They've got a great front seven. It's just the offensive line. I don't know how long Ben is going to last with these guys. I don't know. They're going to have to – you know what they really need? You know what they really, really need? They need Todd Haley back. But the problem is that the former offensive coordinator, the Rams, the Steelers simply or Ben Roethlisberger simply does not like the guy. So that is okay. Geno Atkins. Now, this is a huge story, Pickles. Huge story out of Cincinnati. Former Cincinnati player Geno Atkins, another 33-year-old former All-Pro player, came back from injury. He has been cleared to play. Tennessee's interested. Minnesota is interested in this guy. I want to say possibly the Saints. Geno Atkins, if you are a Tennessee Titan fan, you want to get this guy. This guy is a 2-down player. He's good for red zone, defense, 1-yard stops. If quite frankly, if I were Cincinnati, I would try to figure out a way to bring him back. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of teams out here that can use a guy like Geno Atkins. Even if you got to plug him in certain packages where he's on like a 4-3 type of package, when you really have 3-4, when you have 3-4 personnel per se, Atkins will get signed. They're not going to give him a lot of money, but he does turn a running game. He makes your defense stop or your offense stop and go the other way. You can't just lay the ball down and go straight ahead. On a guy like this, I think he's going to probably go to a playoff contender. And a team like Tennessee would be good. A Minnesota, some type of contender. I've read that Kansas City, Frank Clark may be put on the exempt list. If I were Kansas City, I would definitely bring him in for a physical and try him out. Like I said, this guy, multiple Pro Bowls. I even played at an all-pro level. All-pro means you're the best at your position at some point during his career. He's probably not a 3-down back, but you want to bring him in on run plays. Not the best pass rusher in the world, but first and second down, goal line, defense, yes. Get a Geno Atkins. Tennessee, I'm out of Nashville. Find him out. Okay, sticking in the NBA, let me change out my stuff here real quick, guys. Getting that 2905 here. Okay, the Mannings. A good news here story for the NFL. So, Peyton Manning, Pickles, and Eli Manning are getting into the Monday Night Football. They're getting into Monday Night Football, sort of. If any of you have ever watched these national championship games, sometimes I didn't really like the setup, but I watched it for a little while. But sometimes during the national championship games, ESPN will have like a different ESPN2 version of the national champion. It'll be on like 2 or 3 stations, right? And you'll have like a room of coaches and players, former coaches and players, analyzing the game from a different perspective and comment on the game in real time. This is what the for 10 games for 3 years, Peyton and Eli Manning, good comedy, but also very serious analytical football. So the games with the big-time quarterbacks on Monday night, say if you got like a Tom Brady, for instance, and he's playing a Patrick Mahomes, for instance, you'll get Peyton and Eli dissecting play-by-play. He should have went here. Watch out for the safety. You think Tony Romo is good at predicting stuff? Watch Peyton Manning and Eli feed off of it. Now, where can Eli come in? Eli would say, well, for one thing, if you were in there, big brother, you would probably be a nervous wreck and trying to rush things on the field, and you would underthrow the pass. Me, I'm cool, calm, and collective. I'm casually going to look off the safety, and then I'm going to look to the left, and I'm going to hit my guy in the back of the end zone. I love this. You got him for 10 games, and out of 17, that's not bad, especially if you got so they can ditch the Jacksonvilles or something. Nothing to, Tennessee. Come on. But if you got a Russell Wilson and a Josh Allen, I mean, that would be really good. You could see these guys break down the games. And I'm not a big ESPN guy. They needed some good news after being turned down by Peyton to do regular Monday Night Football for years. You've got the Maria Taylor, Rachel Nichols fiasco. You've got this other crap that I'm going to talk about here in a second with the NFL and the national anthem, which brings me to this now. Okay, so now the NFL wants to continue, even though the ratings in the NBA last year when they were putting those social justice causes on the court in the back of the jerseys. This is not me. Adam Silver says his friends, even he thinks that's a little much because people want to watch the game. He said that, not me, Commissioner NBA. So they took all that off. They brought the national anthem back. Nobody made any issue. NFL now says that they will air quote continue to do the black national anthem and then the regular Star Spangled Banner national anthem, and they will continue to put decals of social justice stuff on the back of helmets when they would not let the Dallas Cowboys wear any kind of emblem for the 5 cops that were murdered a few years ago from that guy that cycled back in 2016 during that mass shooting where the guy shot all those Dallas police officers. Okay? Now, that's news to me, too. Did you hear what I said? Continue. The networks got smart. They're not showing any of that stuff. If they are, I've missed it, Pickles. If they've put that stuff on there about the national anthem, the black national anthem, I never did see it. I didn't see any decals on any helmets. I didn't see any anthem. That being said, that is a horrendous idea. That's something that some 26-year-old Wolster out of Stanford thought would be a great idea to do. Maybe it was something to do with the Jay-Z thing coming about with the NFL, with the entertainment, but it is a terrible idea. A terrible, terrible idea. The NFL is a uniter, not a divider. So what do we do about this? Here's my suggestion. Since you want to be unite. I would say I'm going to get 5 diverse committee from former players, somebody from the PA, somebody that works in the NFL. Get 5 different people together and say we're going to come up with a new pro-America, pro-league song. My suggestion would be Living in America by James Brown. Okay? Did anybody see Rocky IV? Decked out in the American flag. You can get a local choir there to sing, or somebody from an HBC, Historical Black College. If you want to do that, show the social, whatever. But you use a Living in America, something like that, or something pro-America that those diverse people can come up with. But this is a terrible idea. What you're doing right now is a terrible idea. And the networks know it because they're not showing it, Pickles. They're not showing any of that stuff. And they don't, because if they did, as much as I like doing this show, I will boycott the NFL. If they keep pushing me and keep pushing me, I will boycott this. This ain't my life. I would try a different type of talk show if they try that. It's going to phase out. They're going to listen to people like me because they are a national league. They are not a global league. They can't push crap on people that you don't like. They're not owned like that. So they have to walk gingerly when it comes to this sort of thing. So speaking of wokeness and everything, so I watched the documentary over the weekend. I watched the Naomi Osaka documentary. Loved the first 2 episodes. I never even heard of Naomi Osaka until a month ago when she bowed out. Was it 2 months ago back in the French Open? I never even heard of her till then. Because for one thing, in my mind, tennis is taking a big hit. It's not as popular as it used to be. Serena Williams is slowing down. We don't have any Americans. I like Roger Federer and the Djokovic or whatever the guy's name is, and Nadal, but they're not American. I don't follow them like that. So anyways, some observations from that. She's a shy, sensitive young woman, has her whole day planned out with training appearances. It seems like she's screaming on the inside for a long solitude. And then I watched the last one where she's starting to put on all this social justice stuff. She explains that she was good friends with Kobe Bryant. It showed her crying when she found out Kobe died last February. And you kind of sense that she was trying to, and this documentary for Netflix was made by LeBron's production team. It says LeBron James is one of the producers on the credits. I don't know if production, but he's a producer. So I felt like she was trying to fit in with her friends. Then on top of all that, the media scrutiny is getting even more intense because one thing, she'd get a bigger star, and she's stepping in that air quote social justice lane, and she's not used to getting hit with those hard questions. So now she's backed out of 2 tournaments in a row. Now she's going to be back for the Tokyo Olympics. The half Asian, half black. I think her father's from Haiti. Really nice guy, really nice mother. She's from Japanese. I could see the media's trying to do this Tiger Woods thing, with the race thing, because he's a half Asian, half black, or whatever, Taiwanese or whatever thing he came up with, and it just became too much for her. It became overwhelming for her. She shouldn't have got into that. She'll learn. She's only 23. She got into that political lane, and now she's been on the front of Sports Illustrated. She did a Barbie thing. And she went back and forth with Megyn Kelly. It's like, what are you doing? I mean, I thought you was have anxiety, but you're wanting to talk to the friendly media, but not the ones that ask you the real questions. But she came back at Kelly and said, well, that was last year. But she got in that lane. She wanted to fit in with the friends, see. The Kobe crowd and the LeBron crowd. And then she didn't like that lane. That was a fast lane, Pickles. She got anxiety because she wasn't used to being in that. Because if you watch this documentary, people are treating her with kid gloves. They're really nice to her, man. They're like, oh, you got people waiting on her hand and foot. She's getting congratulated everywhere she goes. Serena Williams is hugging her in the middle of the court. She's got the coaches. She's got the handlers. She is a little shy. It's a little much. She did say she was battling depression. I think because it was just too much. She shouldn't have got in that political lane. But also she's trying to be a superstar. I mean, she's doing all these appearances. She don't have any downtime, any solitude. But the main thing is getting in that political lane. You could still do politics. If I'm advising, I'll say you don't want to go public like that. Don't let people con you into doing that. You can use your access and stuff, low key, you can give money. But when you go public, you're going to get that punchback. You're going to get that anxiety. And when you stop playing as good in tennis, then that popularity goes, woo. I mean, all those advertisements, all that marketing. She's a marketing dream. She's very beautiful. Very beautiful. Really attractive woman. She's like 23 years old, 24. She's still learning. But it is a lot happened to her in a short period of time. And it was good. It was blessed. She's very poor growing up. Her mom worked overtime, 2 jobs. Dad wasn't, just very lower class to middle class. So I have a little bit of empathy for her, but she'll learn. And I think mainly she was simply trying to take on too much. And she kind of got caught up into that movement. And that lane, she's not ready for all that lane. She's very young. And she's naturally a shy person. You can tell she's shy. But it's a good documentary, the first 2 episodes. But, I think she should see a sports psychologist. John Smoltz did it. Alex Rodriguez seen a sports psychologist when he was with the Yankees. He could never really handle New York. He was bad in big games. But in society now, we embrace mental health. I've been watching Talking Sopranos, and Michael Imperioli brings this up a lot. He said what was really big about the Sopranos, Pickles, was that we embrace therapy and we embrace, that aspect that everybody needs some kind of direction, needs somewhere to talk about their problems and get things out where a professional can help them out and lead them in the right direction. That was what's special about Sopranos. This guy ran a mob family, and then he went to a psychiatrist. He ran the mob family, then he also ran his own family. He had anxieties with that, watching over his back from the police, from somebody trying to have him whacked, have him killed. And it was just really well-written show. Love Sopranos. But when you're that young and taking on that much and seeing it unfold, I hope she bounced back. I like her. I hope she gets out of that political lane. Don't listen to LeBron. You can still be friends with LeBron. Tom Brady was at the White House today, and we know he was on the other side politically. He was making jokes. He's trying to unite people. See, he's a leader. He's trying to unite people. Even though if it's me, I don't think we should do any more White House stuff. But, he made the best of it. He was cool about it. But those 2 lanes are what they are, okay? But, again, with the national anthem and all that, get 5 diverse people, come up with 1 song, let's do away with the 2 anthems, and do something that's unifying, not divisive, okay? And take all those messages off. Those are far left-wing, divisive messages. Oh, one more story out of Northern California. The Oakland A's. There was a story about the Oakland A's. The president of the Oakland A's won't accept Oakland's new stadium proposal that was voted in by the city council. Okay, I talked about this a few months ago. Nashville was one of the cities that would be interested and would be a good fit. I still think that would be the way to go. As President Dave Campbell said, he hadn't seen the proposal until this morning. He isn't ruling anything out, but he wants to learn the term. But he did say that he just does not, according to Campbell, he had not seen it. The offer was approved Tuesday and does not see it as a plan in the which the A's can agree with. Eno hadn't seen it. From what he hears, he says he don't like it. So I'll say this. There's something wrong in Oakland. They've moved on from they got bad leadership there. Okay. They lost the Raiders. They play in Vegas. You know that. The Warriors don't play in San Francisco now. And now the A's have been threatening to move. So there's something wrong with your locals there. But here in Nashville, we don't have a 600 miles. Pickles is the closest, I want to say the closest American League team. And I think that here in Nashville would be great. We don't have American League team. We have the good distance there. The National League, they, we couldn't get a National League team here because of the Braves and the Cardinals and the Cubs. But the Cubs to Chicago, that's like 500-something miles. So I think it would be a good fit here. Just saying, if it doesn't work out in Oakland, I stand by what I said a few months ago. So if you guys like the show, share the show. I'm at 45 minutes. I'm going to watch the second half. I hope we get a Game 7. At this point, I don't care who wins and who loses. I just want a good series. Again, I do think, the Reds are also National League, Carlos. So American League team would be great here. Kansas City's a good ways from here. The Chicago White Sox are a good ways from here. The Baltimore Orioles are even farther away, like 700 miles. And we got a dogfight, 71-69. I don't know. I think it's going to come down to last possession tonight. I hope we get a Game 7. I'm just all for it, everybody. You like the show, share the show. I will be back on Thursday. Big announcement. We'll be talking SEC football. We had media days today. The quarterback for the Alabama Crimson Tide, he's already got nearly a 7-figure NIL contract here. He's being compared to Russell Wilson of the Seattle Seahawks. And I will be breaking down the SEC, the teams of interest. I'm not going to talk clowns, okay? Probably brush up on Tennessee and Vanderbilt. They got new coaches, but we're talking Texas A&M's got a clean shot to win this thing. Georgia's got a clean shot to win this thing. As down as I've been down on Ed Orgeron. The talent's so overwhelming. They got a clean shot to win this thing. Alabama's got 3 starters coming back on offense, and they have a rough schedule. So we're going to break that down and talk about the SEC. Georgia's always going to be good. Florida's going to be better. Going to be good. I don't know if they're going to be better than Georgia. Georgia's got the players. Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss. He's got a really good quarterback there. May get drafted at Corral. I think his name is Matt Corral. Mississippi State. I cannot think of that guy's name. Former coach of Texas Tech and Washington State. Last year, those guys got washed under the radar because of COVID. But this is going to be a really good SEC West with Jimbo Fisher, year 4. I really like Texas A&M. I've been reading a lot about this. I put several hours on this on Sunday, everybody. Tune in. Mainly, that's what I'm going to cover Thursday. Breaking down and picking winners and an SEC champion. It's the biggest conference. We had media day today. Most NFL prospects come out of the SEC every year. National championship, mainly out of SEC. It's either LSU, Alabama, of course, won the ACC team in Clemson, and Ohio State, of course. But lot of good players there. So we'll be talking that. If you have your questions about the SEC, but the teams are relevant, I will get to that. I know that South Carolina's got a new coach, but I'm not going to really go too far into those guys. I'm only going to talk money teams of real interest. They're going to make real headway in the conference, okay? Have a good night, everybody. I will see you Thursday around 9 p.m. Central Time talking SEC football. We will be 6 weeks away Thursday from college football. I want to say that Ohio State plays Minnesota. That'll be a great game. Of course, 7 weeks away from the real big-time games, Dallas and Tampa. Have a good night, everybody. I will see you Thursday here on Sports Scope.